Hey guys, I'm recording this early because both Abby and Anna are going out of town, and our ministry would cease to exist without them. So I'm going to end recording the video for next week's lesson, which is Unit 14, Lesson 2. So we looked at Jonah last week, and this week's Hosea. Hosea is one of my favorite books of the Bible. It just shows us how much God loves us, how much He continues to pursue us time and time again, just in light of our failures. And so it's really good. So really, the focus of this one is really looking at the love of God, looking at our rebellion, and then God's love for us despite that. So the main point is God faithfully pursues His people even when they are unfaithful. Once again, we want to make sure we understand in this story we are not the heroes. We are not Hosea. God is Hosea. We are Gomer. We are the prostitute wife who continues to leave the loving husband time and time again, despite the good things He gives to us. This is what happens when we sin, when we choose our own way. We are running away from the love that God has for us. But in that, God continues to show His love for us over and over again, in that He continues to pursue us. And so, really, what I want us to really do is just kind of move through this story with them. Great questions that can be asked. I mean, like, if Hosea's pursuit of an unfaithful Gomer is a picture of God's pursuit of us, what does it say about His character, especially in light of our unfaithfulness? And so, just great opening questions like Gomer, what are some sins that that you keep running back to in your own life? I think it's a great question to ask our students. What are the things in our lives that we continue to run back to and reject God for? We need to know those things. And then, really, the focus on here is that we want to look at is maybe you can compare and contrast how the world defines love and how God defines love. What we see spoken of right here in this book is a covenant love, a covenant love. The author says that this is a love that was rooted in a promise and guaranteed by a commitment to pay whatever the cost for that love to continue. That's what God's love is like. He gives us a promise, and then He and is guaranteed by a commitment to pay whatever the price. That's what it is. It's a promise guaranteed by a commitment. And God proves that to us in the same way that Hosea proves it to Gomer. You see, Gomer leaves Hosea, goes and becomes a prostitute. And what Hosea has to do is he ends up having to buy back his wife. Even though she's his wife, because she's been sold into this, he has to buy her back. So he gives whatever he has to give to buy back his wife. She had become a slave, and he had to buy her back from slavery. The same is true for us. It says that we too were slaves when God came after us. In our pursuit of other lovers, the things that would satisfy and give us pleasure meaning, we were nothing more than the slaves of sin. When we were unlovely, unworthy, and in rebellion against God, He came, He sought us out, and He paid our purchase price. He came to each one of us with the promise of His gospel and told us that He had paid the price that would free us from our idolatry. The price He paid for us was much steeper than 30 shekels. What He paid for us was His own life. He laid down His life for us. A great question. When you consider the price that God paid to purchase you back to Himself, how does that change your desire to be lured away from your temptations, by your temptations? I think this is good. I think it's good for us to reflect on what God did and what that meant for us. Because when we understand the greatness of the price that He paid, oftentimes that causes us to want to live a life of obedience to Him. So I hope this lesson is helpful. Really, what I just want to focus on is contrasting how the world defines love and then how God defines love. And then from there, helping them see that, look, we are Gomer. We're Gomer. We run away from God all the time, but God, like Hosea, continues to run after us, and He loves us enough that He wants us. So I hope that's helpful. A pretty easy week, but man, just really help just drive in this love of God with our students. Thanks, guys.